And welcome back to NewsWire here on SportsGrid. Let's get the very latest on the Cleveland Browns, maybe go around the NFL a little bit. Our next guest, Jerod Cherry of ESPN Radio, ESPN Cleveland, three-time Super Bowl champion as well. Jerod, thanks for making some time here on NewsWire. It's been quite the crazy offseason. We're just a couple of days into the into the regular season. Hard to keep up.
It certainly is. And what took place last night with the Baltimore Ravens, you're saying to yourself, how in the world do you let John Harbaugh go when you have six, seven teams actually, one team who actually has a coach say, you know what, we'll give a call and see if he'd be interested in our job. So it's been crazy here in Cleveland. Obviously, Kevin Stefanski was let go of his duties. At the same time, we expect this to take place after the season because a lot of teams have aspirations to win. And obviously, when you don't win or to the level that you expect, changes are made.
And certainly, Gerard, you know the Browns program there. I guess we can, certainly start there. We'll get to Harbaugh really at the end. Kevin Stefanski, two-time Coach of the Year, certainly had things going. I felt like in the right direction. Unfortunately, the Deshaun Watson contract really seemed to derail a lot of the things that the Browns were trying to do, and inevitably, I don't know if that's the main reason why he's not the head coach of the Browns anymore, but at least the tea leaves seem to indicate that most NFL teams feel pretty comfortable maybe with bringing him in as the next head coach. So why do you think the Browns decided to go in a different direction?
I think simply put, the winning and was not there, and improvements on the offense did not take place. And then overall, from a team standpoint, you did see the defense play at a high level, but special teams and offense, simply put, were not playing complementary football with the defense to help in the cause of winning football games. So when you have 2 years of that taking place, even though you're well liked and well respected, that's going to lead some to say, you know what, we need to try something new to see if we can get something different to take place to be a catalyst towards winning football games. So it really comes down to that. Everyone will tell you that Kevin Stefanski is well respected, well liked, and appreciated here in Cleveland.
Yeah, there's no doubt right now. I think that Stefanski's probably going to be at the top of the list after Harbaugh for a number of opening jobs. And so I guess we could take this to the next question, Gerard, as you aptly put. It would appear that maybe a lot of these teams are going to wait until the end of the NFL playoffs because there's going to be a lot of candidates potentially from other teams to be head coaches. Do you think that could be the case in Cleveland? I know we're still very early, just a few days into this thing. What kind of coach do you think the Browns are going to be looking for in the future?
I think they're going to run the gamut because the owner, Jimmy Haslam and D Haslam, pretty much said that, hey, they're going to use the next 120 days to get everything solidified with the organization. Andrew Berry came out and made a statement regarding the coaching search, and they weren't definitive on what it would be, as far as particular style or anything of that nature or what type of candidate they were looking for. The whole thing is that they're looking and that they're going to search and do everything they possibly can to bring someone who fits the culture and can make things go in the right direction for this football team and organization. So that's pretty general and vague, but at the same time, that's really what you have to be at this stage until you have those interviews. And ultimately, obviously, when they do get to those interviews, the question that comes for me is, are you going to ask that candidate to take on a Shador Sanders or Deshaun Watson, or will they have the liberty to bring in their own guys and their own sense of how they want to do things? Because one thing Cleveland's known for is being very collaborative in their approach with the front office and the head coach.
Yeah, there's no doubt, and obviously, you know the league very well, and you cover it not just for ESPN Cleveland, but for ESPN Radio. Gerard, your former teammate Tom Brady is involved in the hiring process with the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders is where I want to go next here, and kind of get your thoughts on that. Whoever's walking into that situation on paper, it feels like a good one as far as player personnel, but history tells you that there's just been so much turnover and so many different coaches there, and you think they could eventually solidify that spot there? It's very rare to see the kind of player and pedigree of a Tom Brady
Yeah,
being
you'd like to
involved in
think
a,
that's the case.
yeah, in a press release too. Mark Davis said he's going to be involved in the hiring.
Yeah, well, obviously, they went from Josh to Antonio to Pete, and now to someone else. And so it's been very whimsical there in Las Vegas, and it's been a roll of the dice, as you will. With that being said, though, what you hope Tom can bring to the table, and I heard someone say this in jest, but how hilarious would it be if he recruited Bill Belichick to come back to the NFL and Tom was his boss? I thought that was hilarious, but you never know. That could be a possibility if the buyout's right in North Carolina. That's just me speculating. But at the end of the day, I know one thing about Tom Brady. He's extremely hard worker. He's very intelligent, and he'll do his best to make sure that the Raiders have someone that can certainly represent the organization and help them get back to just winning, baby.
Okay, so now let's get to the top story of the entire week, which is, of course, John Harbaugh being dismissed and parting ways, whatever you want to say, with the Baltimore Ravens. Now, naturally, it's an easy fit for Cleveland, Jerod, but it's an easy fit for every single opening that is out there, and we really haven't got much of an indication as to what his real plans are. Too, when someone's this coveted, they could take a year off, they could choose another job. He could also, Gerard, just go for the most money, which is what sometimes coaches do too. What do you think? What's your feeling on the way that this goes?
Well, I think one, and I played for John Harbaugh in Philadelphia, and I walked away from experience saying he's just a really good man and human being. So, with that being said, I don't want to anticipate him staying a year out of football. And with these options, obviously he can take his time. He doesn't have to be rushed and feel like he's under pressure in order to make the decision. At the same time, too, if I'm John, I'm looking at a situation where I have some more unilateral say in how things are going to go with the football program, more so than being dictated to. So that's certainly something you should look forward to. But at the same time, I will not be shocked if he goes back into the NFL and has success, because he's one of those guys that's just tailor made for leading men. And I look forward to seeing where he lands.
Yeah, definitely so. And Gerard, do you think that a job opening has to have one of these franchise quarterbacks going in, or do you think that Harbaugh would sort of take it and say, you know what, I'll do my own thing. I'll figure out who I want at quarterback, because the narrative is like you got to go to the Giants, right? Because Jackson Dart is there. I don't know that that really adds up, though, does it?
No, it doesn't necessarily add up. And he could go the route of one of his mentors, that being Andy Reid. When Andy Reid went to the Chiefs, obviously they had a good quarterback, but then they drafted Pat Mahomes, and the rest is history. So he has so many options. And I think that with John, he knows how to coach football at the highest levels, and he'll find a way.
I got it, Gerard. Thanks again for coming on Newswire. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.